Hi everyone, good evening. Welcome to Conversations with MM. This is Marivir Montebon here in New York City. Hope you are all doing well tonight. It's Friday and it's November 15. And tonight we are going to feature a full-length book event, the launch of Paranaque to New York City. This is authored by Ms. Therese Rodriguez, the CEO of Apicha Community Center. I had the honor of being the host of the event, which happened on October 24, 2024, at the door on Broome Street. And it's a well-attended event. I hosted it and also co-managed the event. So I'm so happy, and I'd like to thank Therese for allowing me to be part of this wonderful event, which, by the way, was commemorated during the Filipino History Month. So let's take a look, and I hope you'll enjoy this. Okay, good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming out to the book launch of Paranaque to New York City, 50 Points by Therese Rodriguez. Therese is the CEO of Apicha Community Center and a steadfast leader in the empowerment and inclusion of people of color and LGBTQ+ communities in the U.S. This book event is a timely celebration of the Filipino history and Hispanic heritage this October. I'm Marivir Montebon. I am a New York-based journalist covering mostly Filipino communities in the East Coast. It's an honor to be your program host tonight. We are grateful for The Door for allowing us to use its welcoming space. And I'd like to introduce the CEO of The Door to welcome us here and to briefly tell us about its programs. Kelsey Louie is a native New Yorker and a public health leader with over 20 years of experience supporting underserved youth, families, LGBTQ+ communities, and communities of color. Before serving as the CEO of The Door, Kelsey served as the Chief Executive of Gay Men's Health Crisis Incorporated, the world's first AIDS service organization, and Chief Operating Officer and Program Officer at Harlem United. Kelsey received an MSW degree from NWU and an MBA from Columbia University. He is an adjunct professor at the NYU Silver School of Social Work. Please welcome Kelsey Louie.
Good evening. I'd like to introduce myself because it gives me another opportunity to say that I'm Kelsey Louie, the proud CEO of The Door and Broome Street Academy. I'm also the proud son of immigrant parents. And I just found out today that I am the proud owner of the first copy of Paranaque in New York City. So a little bit about The Door. The Door was founded in 1972. We are a youth development organization that serves young people ages 12 to 24. We often serve up to 11,000 young people each year through a variety of programs. We have an FQHC on our lower level. We have runaway and homeless youth services, 95 beds of supportive housing, a robust arts program. You're sitting in our dance studio right now. Legal services, where we mostly do immigration work, which is why hosting this book launch is really important to us. And mental health services, substance use services, and basically anything a young person needs to survive and thrive. So thank you for being here, and we are a proud host of this book launch, and we are proud supporters of Therese. I think I'm going to have a chance later to talk about how much I love Therese, but don't we all love Therese?
Lido Public Relations and Communications, which she set up in 1983 after a 5-year stint as PR account director in a multinational advertising agency. Joy's 4 decades of experience include being a communications professor in 2 Philippine universities, a contributing writer to the book How to Make It in PR. She is also publisher and co-author of a coffee table book, 100 Women of the Philippines, which included Therese, and author of the book titled Pinoy Manners, which won a National Book Award in 2018. In 2022, Joy's company added publishing among its many services. It has published 4 new books, among them PR Matters, a communicator's guide to the dynamic world of public relations.
Good evening, everyone. I think we're the only ones representing Paranaque here tonight because I came with my family. I'd just like to acknowledge that I'm here. We flew from the Philippines with my husband, Dr. Bonfilido, 2 Dr. Bonfilidos. One is an infectious diseases specialist. Another is a dermatologist, Dr. Giselle, and my daughter, Monique, who worked with me on the launch of Therese's book in the Philippines. So, thank you so much for inviting me. Tonight seems like a perfect combination of the book, which she aptly called Paranaque to New York. Because as Therese and I met as children, so we've become lifelong friends many years, many decades ago in Paranaque. And here we are today in New York to launch her book of poetry in the city that she now calls her home. For those of you who don't know, the idea for the book started with me wanting to give it as a personal gift to Therese. I wasn't going to publish it for public consumption, but just as a gift to Therese, because she and I have been regularly communicating from Paranaque to New York. She would come home, I would come here, so we'd always be in touch. But Therese told me one day that she had a compilation of poetry that she said she wanted to share with me. So I said, yeah, can I take a look at it? And when I saw it, I was enthralled, and I told her, can I please publish it? And she couldn't believe it. She said, it may not be worth it. Are you sure? I said, no, the pusher in me, I'm the PR. So I did my bit on her, and she agreed. So that was the first, the first step. But of course, when the pandemic happened, and I told her that, let's do it now while people are not doing anything, and I can start to have it published. So it took us 2 years to publish it. And so here we are. I am so proud to be part of the book, because I figured this book would be a wonderful gift, not only to her friends and family, but to our town of Paranaque, where we both grew up. Of course, that was many years ago already. The book is a beautiful reflection of Therese's unique life experiences and her distinct point of view, and of course, her astute storytelling. Every page, every word, every emotion that each poem carries is a reflection of her life, her relentless passion for work, as in here, Apicha, and everything she loves. So, tonight, I'm not going to make it long. I'm just going to say congratulations again to my friend Therese. And I want to say, now that your books are sold out, you're ready for the next book. So
Thank you, Miss Joy. It's really lovely to have friends like that. Amazing. So my task now is exciting for me and a big honor, because I'm going to introduce to you our star, our author. It's my great pleasure to introduce Therese Rodriguez, a woman whose life embodies resilience, activism, and leadership. Her unwavering dedication to justice and equality has shaped lives and communities. And we're here today to mark another milestone in a remarkable journey that spans continents and causes. Shortly after she left the Philippines in 1972, Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law. Upon that declaration, Therese joined the Union of Democratic Filipinos, tirelessly fighting against dictatorship and for Filipino-American rights for nearly 2 decades. In 1977, she joined the Asian Pacific Islander Coalition on HIV/AIDS, now Apicha Community Health Center, where her leadership has been instrumental in advancing healthcare access for Asians and Pacific Islanders, LGBTQ+ individuals, and people living with HIV/AIDS. Under her leadership, Apicha has championed the underserved communities for resources, representation, and culturally inclusive care that they deserve. While spearheading Apicha's transformation as CEO of an organization with over 120 employees, Therese found time to write a book of poetry that beautifully captures her journey from her homeland to her adopted country. The idea of a book took root in 2022, marking her 50th year in New York City. In her review of Therese's book, San Francisco-based editor Elaine Ellinson wrote, Therese has added a sparkling new voice to the poetry of witness, which has long and distinguished history in the world of literature. Her memoir in poetry offers a unique perspective of her life as a Filipina immigrant, lesbian, political activist, and public health pioneer. Last February, Therese successfully launched her book in her hometown of Paranaque in the Philippines. And now, in a full circle moment, she brings her story home to New York, sharing with us the reflections of her remarkable life. It is truly an honor to welcome Therese Rodriguez.
Did you see that? She was reading from something. I still have my folder. Anyway, thank you, Marivir, for your very generous introduction. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Kelsey. Through the years, Kelsey has been there for Apicha, providing 101s for our first application to be a federally qualified health center. A thinker and a joyful warrior in HIV, LGBT+, and Asian and Pacific Islander work, and in a very personal way, he has almost never missed an Apicha gala to hear my speech, he says. A great cheerleader and salesperson for my book, and that tonight is a proof of that. Thank you too to the Doors Chief of Staff, Ted Kane and Sunny, who gave their time and attention to help us prepare for the use of this space, and most of all, the friendship they extended to Apicha. I am most grateful to our event sponsors, the AIDS Center of Queens County, Amida Care, Apicha Community Health Center, Stabile Public Relations and Communications, CAI Global, Filipino American Press Club of New York, SAGE, the Alliance of Positive Change, The Door, and Women and Media. My heartfelt appreciation also goes to everyone who made this book a reality. My publisher, Joy Benzevido, who's here with her family, Dr. Adrian, and Dr. Benzevido, and Monique Benzevido. Thank you to my editor also, he's not here, Mila de Guzman, an author in her own right. And if John Farida is here, he was my graphic artist. Thank you for the work that we did together. And a special thanks to Sheila Coronel, who I never imagined would write the foreword to the book. It was just such an exciting time when we learned that she would write the book. And Joy and I were screaming on the telephone saying, how did we do that? Well, it happened. And to my family who are here, I have a nephew and I have nieces here and friends who grew up in Paranaque. And without their love, this project would not have been possible. And please allow me also to acknowledge the presence of the Apicha book launch staff team. Please raise your hand. As I mentioned your name, Mihela Mihay, is over there. James Hahn, Roy Cuas, Julian Rodriguez, Zach Antay, Angela Graham, Phil Miner, and Marivir Montebon. And all of the Apicha staff, please stand up. Thank you to the members of the board who are here to support the event. Lee Hong Lee, who you heard earlier, James Luisi over there, and James Young. And to my colleagues from the LGBTQ plus and HIV service advocacy organizations, is Barbara Cicatelli here. And so these are the organizations who are here, CAI Global, LGBTQ plus Advisory Committee to the Police Commissioner of the City of New York, the LGBT Community Center, Amida Care, the
the interim Dean of the Asian American and Asian Research, John Chen is here. Kelsey Louis, Kimberly Smith of Kalalord, Kylie Mathab of SAGE, Nanette Hongko of Pokmasa, Mars Custodio HIV Memorial Fund, ACQC, Sebastian Maguire, Seeking Asylum and Finding Empowerment is here. Sharon Duke of Alliance for Positive Change. And to our new friends in the Filipino-American media and community, GMA Network, ABS-CBN, Vox Media, PhilAmNet, Awesome Media, Asian Journal, Philippine Chamber of Commerce, also from the community, Filipino-American Legal Defense and Education Fund, and to my high school classmate Desmond and husband. So, now, why poetry? My poetry teacher, Miss Miraflor, must be rolling in her grave. I did not appreciate poetry then and barely passed English grammar. I am more of a storyteller. I listen and hear the fears, the pains, and the joys of others, learning how to express the needs of folks who cannot speak for themselves, conveying their hopes and possibilities, helping articulate a vision for a better world. This is what my upbringing by my family, the Paranaque town elders, the progressives, and activists had taught me. This is the kind of poetry you will find in my book. Poetry also liberated me from rigid writing rules. It allows me to meander, to take a snapshot of the moment, then linger, making note of how an event or an idea affected me. I find the process empowering because it gave me license to be completely honest and vulnerable, unfettered by the mores and taboos in our community. Writing poetry has also allowed me to include relevant historical nuggets that can help readers gain a broader perspective in looking at life with all its complexities and hopefully enrich their compassion and love for other human beings. Furthermore, poetry gives me the vehicle to analyze and understand contemporary events in our country and abroad, currently racked by misguided anger, misinformation, and disinformation. Listening to African American speakers at community gatherings also helped me to inspire me to write poetry. I admire the poetic cadence in their words, their courage to speak truth to power, and their unfailing hope for a better world. Other than the poems I had written to punctuate my speeches at Apicha and other public events, many are quite private. I share my feelings of loneliness in living by myself during the pandemic, the breakup of my lesbian relationship, the loss of my loved ones, and my struggles to portray the beauty of humanity. Despite these difficult challenges, I thought those poems were only for myself, but I started sharing them with a number of friends and colleagues. They all encouraged me to share my poetic memoirs more widely. At the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, my friend and publisher, Joy, who had read my collection of poems, offered to publish my book as a gift to honor our long and deep friendship and our beloved hometown of Paranaque. Again, maraming salamat sa iyo and your staff in the Philippines. When people ask me to write, when people are asked to write, some would always say, I have nothing to say. Through this book, my first creative effort, I would like readers to come away demystifying and further appreciating writing. Oral history via any genre is a wonderful way of connecting us, helping us understand one another, building bridges across our differences. It is also an invaluable way of memorializing our experiences and lessons for generations to come. While responding to the day-to-day demands of my role as CEO of Apicha, I soldiered on these last 2 years after work and weekends to complete my manuscript, despite all my doubts and apprehensions about sharing my stories widely. Paranaque and New York City, two iconic places from different parts of the world that nurtured me as a person, as a woman, a lesbian, as an immigrant, and as a responsible member of humanity. Paranaque gave me the foundation in terms of moral values, concern for others, and spirituality. New York helped in furthering my personal journey, allowing me to be what I have become, to live to the fullest that I could wish for, and to contribute as best as I could for the betterment of society, particularly its marginalized members. An open heart without borders, without nationalities, and tirelessly overcoming barriers in order to achieve equality, quality healthcare, and empowerment for the underserved communities. These are the guideposts that define my more than 2 decades of Apicha. I find meaningful joy in diligently pursuing our organization's mission, overcoming difficulties, and celebrating our successes. The sense of fulfillment has carried over into my own personal life, where I found a safe space to achieve symmetry, balance, and creativity as I navigate my golden years. Paranaque and New York bookend my life journey. However, I hope that New York does not signal the beginning of the end, but rather an opening of another chapter in continuing my commitment to serve our community and further exploring my creative self through poetry. I hope that my work at Apicha will stand the test of time and help serve as a legacy for generations to come, that community service is a life worth living. All the donations for obtaining the book will go to Apicha, which has given me so much unwavering support for my book launch and professional life. In closing, I wish to thank everyone for everything you do to navigate the increasingly complicated world that we live in, and hope that we can push back the hate, heal the divisions, and collectively build a better, kinder, and more peaceful future. Again, I appreciate you all for being here tonight. I look forward to hearing your thoughts during the questions and answers.
How so amazing. Thank you so much, Therese, for the inspiration you've given us tonight.
Thank you, Marivir, for that introduction. I didn't know Therese, but I read her poetry before I even met her. And it resonated with me because it speaks so much about the Filipino immigrant experience, about the hopes and aspirations of Filipinos in America. So what I'd like to read to you tonight is a poem called Aha, and to me it really reflected my own experience coming to New York from the Philippines. Therese talks about not being aware of the time difference between Manila and New York. She talks about getting lost in the streets of New York. She talks about her encounters on the bus, her confusion, her befuddlement, and I'm sure everyone who's been an immigrant can empathize with this. So, Therese, if you don't mind, I will read your poem. Aha. I had an aha moment recently. I had thought seasonal time change, fall back, spring forward, was a freak of nature. Until I read in the news, it was debated and said by the US Congress. Bright. born and raised in the Philippines, came to the US at 23 on 17th of July, 1972. I had no idea that New York time is 12 hours behind Manila. Finally, I got it. Stopped waking up the maids back home. 12 o'clock midnight in New York is just the right time to call Manila, to call Mama while she's having lunch. One Saturday, when I first came to the United States, I visited the New York Public Library on 5th Avenue. Done with library business, walked down the steps, waited at the sign for the downtown bus, guitar case in hand, and books held tightly against my chest. I waited patiently for the M22, until I read the sign, no standing. Shaken that I was in violation of the law, but afraid I might miss my ride, I began to pace back and forth, taking normal steps, careful not to look like a new immigrant. Bus stop to 42nd Street corner, back to the bus stop to 42nd Street corner, back to the bus stop to 42nd Street corner, back to the bus stop. My old country baggage in tow. It's not enough to speak English well. The bus came. I sat beside a middle-aged white lady. Where do you come from? The library, I answered. No, where do you come from? The library. Befuddled, indignant, she muttered under her breath, go back to where you belong. She stood up, kicked me. Welcome to America, Therese. May I have a chicken sandwich? White, wheat, or roll? Transported back, chicken sandwich. Why so many questions? In Divisoria, you asked for a sandwich. Come on, lady, I haven't got all day. Toasted, tomato, lettuce, mayo. Oh, tasty please, no tomato, no lettuce. Yes, mayo, just a sandwich, please. August 19, 2011. Thank you.
I speak in public all the time, and I don't get nervous, but I'm nervous tonight. I mean, I guess it's like, I imagine like if I were a singer, this would be like doing a cover of a Taylor Swift song in front of Taylor Swift. So Marivir was very polite, very kind in asking me to read, and asked me which poem I would read. And I thought, oh gosh, like, how do I pick? But I knew which one. I mean, I've always had a favorite, kind of like a parent, right? You know who your favorite is. Like, I knew which was my favorite, but I was just too nervous to kind of commit to it and say, like, I will get up and read in front of Therese. So she emailed me again. I was like, okay, I better answer. And then actually, but I read her email and she says, we suggest this poem, which is the one I would have picked. And I was like, great, that's the one I would have picked. So why did I pick this one? So I heard Therese tell the story of this poem at an Apicha Gala, and so she wasn't lying. I would go to the Apicha Galas just to hear Therese speak. And you know, when you know somebody and you think they're brilliant, and you think they're smart and they're a great leader, and that's wonderful. But then after I heard her speak this poem, I realized on top of all those amazing qualities, she was also a badass. And I was like, and so, you know, sometimes when you meet somebody, you don't realize how significant they'll be in your life. So you actually don't remember the first time you met that person. So I actually can't remember the first time I met Therese. But I remember the first time I fell in love with her was when she read this poem, which is why I selected it. Therese, you have been a secret mentor of mine for so long. She's been so kind to say that I've been a partner That's a very kind word, but much of the leader I am today is because of you. Watching you, being in your presence, learning from you, asking you for advice. Those dinners where you thought they were friendly dinners, that was me picking your brain. But she was so kind and humble to not even realize it. And the wisdom that you've shared with me over the years, I treasure and you see reflected in my work every day, so thank you. Okay, so I'm going to do my best. So this poem is called The Alphabet, Not for Prime Time by Therese Rodriguez. This is my favorite. When I first came to the United States, I thought that it would be less of a drain on my family resources if I found a job while still trying to figure out what higher studies to pursue. My cousin Primitivo Carlos was working as an accountant at Native Textiles on 5th Avenue in the mid-20s in Manhattan. The company imported expensive fabrics woven in Ireland, England, and Germany. Its clients were manufacturers of well-known men's suit brands like Hart Schaffner, Marx, Hickey Freeman, Yves Saint Laurent. On my first day, I was told to work with the senior billing clerk. "Hi, my name is Therese Rodriguez," I said. "I am Melanie Yutzi. Where are you from?" Melanie was slim and tall, probably in her 30s, had very dark hair, and a rather high-bridged nose. Filipinos are very particular about the height and breadth of noses. We come from the Malay race. We have flat and wide noses. Through centuries of colonial rule, Spanish, then Hollywood, we have come to define beauty according to our colonizers. Fair skin with high-browed noses, high-bridged noses. As children growing up, our noses would be pinched constantly in the hope that the bridge would be sharper. "The Philippines," I answered. "How about you?" I asked. "I am a Jew," she replied. Being Catholic, I was raised on stories that Jesus Christ was killed by the Jews. I did not know how to react to this real-life biblical persona before me. Awkwardly, I said, "This is the first time I've ever met a Jew." However, this is so funny. However, bred in the teachings of the Second Vatican Ecumenical Council, I thought it better not to associate Melanie with the Pharisees. I worked well with Melanie. After being proficient in computing discounts, sales taxes, and sending off invoices, I was ready to be trained for the next process. I was introduced to Anne Shore. Anne was fair-skinned, sharp, tiny eyes, her blonde hair severely coiffed. She was in her late 50s. She wore printed polyester dresses and walked about like a teacher. Frank Franco, our Ecuadorian supervisor, called her in and asked her to teach me the office filing system. Friendly enough, she escorted me towards the bank of filing cabinets. Pen in hand, she set down a yellow pad on a counter. "First thing you have to learn," as she writes on the paper, A, B, C, the alphabet. I was stunned. Whoa. She kept writing. H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Finally, I found my voice. "Anne," I protested, "I have 2 college degrees." Unconvinced, she continued. Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. That was one of the first lessons in my American journey, particularly USA. And as I became more American, I learned that in another language, the alphabet goes A, B, C, D, E, F, U. I must admit, I have used it, but sparingly. Really in anger and in frustration. Could it have been handy then? Just so I could stop her on her tracks? Therese to her was equal to the color of my skin and the accent in my voice. It could have had some effect, but I still get embarrassed when I use it. Where I grew up, it would have been met with stern consternation. Sorry, Ma. I know. I have to go to confession. Thank you.
There you go. I hope you enjoyed that book event, ladies and gentlemen, which happened on October 24, 2024. The book launch of Paranaque to New York City, which is authored by the CEO of Apicha Community Health Center, Ms. Therese Rodriguez. I truly was honored to be the host and one of the organizers of the event. Also, I'd like to thank my media colleagues, Boyet Loverita and Lindy Rosales of the Philam.net and GMA for being there and for covering the entire event. Thank you so much. And so the proceeds of the book of Therese will uh, help in providing more budget to the health services of Apicha, which you can find in Lower Manhattan at the Chinatown area and in Jackson Heights. So try to visit this community health center. It's born out of struggle um, from people who were sick with HIV/AIDS. And with the leadership of Therese, it has been sustained, and now it has become a community health center where people can go there even without insurance. So how does that happen? We who have insurance equalizes the cost. So we encourage the localities, the communities in Jackson Heights and in New York City to go there and let them be part of your healing process. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of ours, ladies and gentlemen, and take care of yourselves and take care of each other. See you again in another episode of Conversations with MM. Take care. Bye for now.